Hello all, welcome back. A few people have asked me for a simplified version of connecting Zoom to OBS. So I thought I'd show you through a really simple way of doing this. So the first thing you're going to need to do is head over to the OBS project.com, download the latest version of OBS Studio, then head over to VB Audio's page, and then you want to scroll down and download virtual audio cables A and B. Now, once you've got those installed, you're going to go over to your version of OBS and you're going to open up the settings by clicking on the settings button, which is down in the bottom right hand corner. And once you do that, you should get this screen come up. Now, what we're going to do on here is on the audio tab, we're going to go down to our monitoring device here at the bottom. You want to click on this and we're going to select virtual audio cable A. So it's virtual audio cable A you want to go for this, then click apply. So what we've essentially done there is we've set the monitoring output of OBS to go to virtual audio cable A. Okay, let's head over to Zoom now and have a look at our Zoom settings. For the video settings, you'll just need to select the OBS virtual camera, which as you can see at the moment isn't showing because I haven't pressed the button to start that yet. If you want the best quality video, then click HD. That'll make sure you get a nice quality video come through. Make sure mirroring my video is switched off, touch up my appearance is switched off, and adjust for low light is switched off. I always hide non-video participants because if I'm doing a Zoom capture in particular, it means you don't see lots of blocks of squares with people's names or profile pictures on. And then I set it to 25 participants because Zoom's quite resource heavy. So, the fewer cameras and feeds you can have on your screen, the less work your CPU is going to have to do. And we'll just check the advanced settings here. So we've got optimized video quality with denoise. I usually have that clicked off because the video should be pushing through HD. The only other thing that's selected here is the video rendering method, which is Direct 3D11, which ties in with my system settings. So that means that when I do a screen capture of a Zoom meeting in OBS, it'll actually show up the picture of the Zoom meeting. So that's your video settings sorted out. And head over to the audio. At the moment, you can see I'm using my speakers as my output device, and then I've got my camera as the input device. So if we want to get sound from OBS into Zoom, what we'll need to do is select cable A as our input, so our microphone. And then if you want to capture the sound of a meeting, or say you've got participants speaking and you want to broadcast that using OBS, then you'll need to set the speaker to cable B, and I'll show you how to get that back into OBS in a second. So your microphone is set to cable A and your speaker is set to cable B. You also want to unclick the adjust microphone volume because you want OBS to be controlling your volume. You don't want the audio ducking that happens in Zoom to occur. I've selected high for the suppressed background noise. This does increase CPU usage, so you may want to stick it to low, but if you're pushing video or audio through from OBS into Zoom, then you probably want it to be as uncompressed as possible. Music and professional audio, show in meeting option to turn on original sound. Make sure that's clicked. That means that your participants will be able to hear the original sound coming through if they select that option. You also want to disable echo cancellation. Now, normally if you're connected just with your microphone, you won't want to do this because this will cause you all sorts of echo issues unless you are wearing headphones. I've also got high fidelity music mode selected and stereo audio. So you can also choose whether Windows or Zoom processes your audio signal. So the default is Windows, and then you can have the raw sound, which will again increase the quality of the sound, but it will use up a lot more CPU usage. So just be careful about that, especially if you've got quite a slow computer. The other thing that you want to check is that you don't have a virtual background on, because that'll interfere with the video that you're pushing through. So those are your Zoom settings. Right, now let's go back to OBS and I'll show you how we can get the audio from Zoom back into OBS. Now, if you remember a little while ago, we set our speaker output to virtual cable B. So I'm going to show you how we can get B to come into OBS so that we'll be able to hear the other people talking within that Zoom meeting. So on OBS here, you can see that I've got a scene 2, which is a blank scene at the moment. And down in the sources here, there is nothing there. So we click the plus button. We want an audio output capture. Let's call this Zoom capture. And then it's going to ask us to choose which device we want. So we want to find cable B. And then we click OK. And now what I've done is I've connected my phone to Zoom so that I'm a second participant in it. And you can see at the moment that it is capturing the sound of my voice speaking from my phone through Zoom. So anyone else who's speaking in that Zoom meeting will now be able to be heard. If we go back into our OBS settings, there's a way that you can add your microphone so that it will appear in every scene and you don't need to keep adding it all the time. And the way that we do that is we go to the audio tab, and then here you've got global audio devices. So under mic auxiliary audio here, you would select your default microphone. So in my case, that would be the Logitech StreamCam, but for now, I'm not going to add that one just because that's what I'm using to record at the moment. So let's just add a default microphone, which will be the default one on the laptop. Then we click apply and OK. So now you can see that the microphone that I've just added is moving up and down here, so it appears as this virtual fader here. And if I was to go to scene 2 here, you can see that the Zoom audio has disappeared now, but because the microphone audio is a global audio, it is now also captured within this scene as well. So that's really great if you want a microphone that appears in every single scene that you've got in OBS. You might not want that. You might just want your microphone to appear in certain scenes. So say you were doing a Zoom capture and then you were cutting to a video. You wouldn't necessarily want to keep muting the Zoom sound or your microphone sound every time you change scene. So the way to do that is you add it as a source, an individual source into each scene. So if we go back down to our sources, click the plus button, and we want to add an audio input capture. Okay, and then again, it will ask you to choose which microphone you want from the list. So we could add, let's just add the default one for now. And again, you'll see that that's now appeared down here in the OBS window. But if we were to change to the other scene, that one would disappear and we would just have the default audio coming through. So that's your basic settings on how to bring sound in and out of OBS. Now, one of the issues that you may have using the virtual audio cable to take sound out via the monitoring device on OBS is that you won't be able to hear the sound itself. So let me show you a way that you'll be able to monitor that sound through your headphones or your speakers. Now, I would suggest or recommend that you use headphones, just because then it kind of stops any feedback loops that you might get from your microphone and your audio. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up our Windows sound panel, and you do that by clicking on the sound icon in the bottom right of the screen. If you right click on that, select open sound settings, it will bring up this page that you see here. From there, we want to go to the sound control panel, which is here. Now you can see all the different sound items that I've got coming into my system. There's quite a few of them on here. The one we're interested in is the recording tab. So on the recording tab, what we want to do is we want to go down to virtual cable A. We want to right click it, go properties, and then on the second tab along, you'll see there's one that says listen. Now this enables you to listen to this device, so you'll be able to hear all the audio that's going out through it. So if we were to click this, we could then choose which audio device we used to hear this device. So if my headphones were plugged in, this is where I would select my headphones. Now this means that you can monitor all of that audio that's going through to Zoom from OBS and still be able to hear it, which is, that's the one downside of using the virtual audio cables. If you don't do this, or you don't use a virtual sound desk, you won't be able to hear the audio unless you do this. But it's very simple to do. You can monitor any audio device that you like within your system. So it's a really useful tip to know. Okay, so let's go and have a look in Zoom now and see a few of the options that are available in an actual meeting itself. So if you look at the screen, you've got this button at the top here, which enables you to turn on original sound. So click on that. The video, as you can see here, at the moment it's pushing through OBS Virtual Camera. I haven't got it turned on. If I turn it on now quickly, you'll see an infinity of the screen capture going forwards. So let's turn that back off. So that's all set up to go now. So you'll be able to play sound through OBS and it'll be able to be heard within the Zoom meeting. Likewise, anyone else who's in the Zoom meeting, you'll be able to capture their audio and broadcast that out via OBS as well. Okay, so what about if you wanted to capture that meeting within OBS? So let's very quickly show you how to do that. So we're currently on scene 2. If you're not set up a new scene, go down to your sources, and then you want to do a window capture. I'm going to call this Zoom, and it says the name's already in use. So we'll call it Zoom Capture. Okay, and you can see it's automatically defaulted to Zoom Meeting. Now, when I'm recording or capturing a Zoom meeting, I don't want the mouse to be seen. So I turn off the capture cursor button so that my mouse can't be seen moving around the screen. And then we click OK. Then if you right click it, click transform and fit to screen, you'll see that that Zoom meeting fills the screen. Now what I tend to do when I'm doing this is I'll hold down the Alt key and then move up and just crop it so that we get rid of all the toolbars and everything else, and probably the original sound sign at the top there as well. So now you've got a capture of the Zoom meeting, which gets rid of all the toolbars and everything else, and you're good to go. So that's a very, very quick run through of how to get sound from OBS into Zoom and from Zoom into OBS using virtual audio cables only, and also using your Windows sound settings so that you can monitor the audio coming out of OBS and into Zoom. I hope that was useful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you for watching.